Tell the truth. Do you like them?
Oh, yeah.
Not too red?
No.
Crystals aren't too much?
Crystals are not too much.
Oh, well, that makes me feel much better, because I was really going back and forth over whether they were worth the money. They were super expensive.
Yeah. Well, they're amazing. Those are the coolest boots I've ever seen in my life.
Thanks so much, buddy.
Bye. My God. What have I done?
So you've heard the word tact, right? That sense for knowing the best thing to say or do in a social situation? I've seen people do everything they can to avoid having to be honest. It's like tact is really difficult for some people. I'm not sure I always understood that. And you know, I think some brag about how brutally honest they are because it makes them appear to have integrity. There are others that just don't want to do the work it takes to be both honest and kind. I think the first type are dangerous, and the second type are just lazy cowards. I'm sure you've heard someone say something nasty about you or somebody you love and then act like you should be grateful because they're helping you. There are nicer ways to say that sweater is ugly, if you even needed to say it in the first place. If you grew up on old Disney movies like I did, you probably heard the phrase, "If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all." I'd include the actual clip, but Disney, you know. Okay, so anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, that whole thing is a great, schoolyard clapback, but it's still missing something. There are times when you might need to say something that isn't nice or positive, but you want to make sure it's still helpful and necessary. If you want, I could talk your ear off about that another time. Back to tact, though. When someone wants your opinion, your answer might not be exactly what they want to hear. So do you tell a little white lie? Maybe you just come right out with it and drop the truth bomb on them. I think whether or not your goal is to save their feelings or save your self-effort, you're wasting your own time with both. Most of the time. There are exceptions, I'll get to those in a minute. So what's it take to be tactful? It helps to know the person, but most people are pretty similar. We like it when people are considerate of us. It makes us want to be more considerate too. If someone comes to you looking for your opinion, you just need to ask what they're looking for and whether you have that to offer. Now, before you start asking, why do I have to care about this stuff? I'll just say you should care about preventing suffering wherever possible. But if you're looking for some selfish reasons to be tactful, I'll give you some examples. So let's say your friend's new fashion choices aren't for you. Whatever it is, they're really psyched and they want you to be psyched too, but you're pretty sure they'd want to know your true feelings and the secondhand embarrassment is killing you. If you lie, you might wind up with your own pair of tacky boots or a gaudy gold chain bracelet. Enjoy having to wear that stuff in public. Okay, fine, so do you just let him have it? Just tell him exactly what you think?
So, surgery went well? All clear?
Right as rain, buddy.
It is so great. I hate your boots.
What?
I told you that I loved your boots 3 years ago, and I was lying, and that lie has haunted me ever since. And people tried to tell me it was fine, just a nice little white lie in the form of social niceties, but I disagreed. And then yesterday I thought you were gonna die, but now you're not dead, and I can finally be honest and say that those boots are terrible and hideous, and I hate them. Woo!
This is why everyone hates moral philosophy professors.
Yeah, I know. And I get it.
Okay, I promise there's another way. Try to spin it into a positive. Wearing something outside of the norm is a bold move. Daring to be unique is a scary prospect for a lot of people. So try something like, wow, those are wild boots. I mean, not exactly my style, but I know a trendsetter when I see one. Most people have a hard time hearing any negatives without some positives to soften the blow. That's why people are always talking about the compliment sandwich. It's like stuffing a pill into a sausage. If you can keep it real with this friend, they'll hopefully appreciate that you didn't try to spare their feelings, but you weren't a total a-hole about it. Even if they don't take it so well at first.
Dude, Chidi is giving you a lifeline right now and you need to take it. Because you suck.
You suck.
I know.
And before we go any further, keep in mind we are still talking about situations where your opinion is specifically requested and the ugliness of a pair of boots is still pretty subjective. Moving on. Let's talk about critiquing artistic pursuits. An artist or crafter's skill level isn't always tied directly to how secure they are in their work. It's true that many artists seek critique specifically to improve, but most just want to be encouraged enough to keep going. So what do you do when your friend shows you, ooh? So it's not great, but the effort your friend has put in is very real. Still, if you tell them it belongs in a museum, they're probably going to think you're poking fun at them, or that you must be terrified to tell them what you really think because it's that bad. That's going to hurt not only their pride, but their perception of you as a trustworthy friend. On the other hand, flat out telling them you think it sucks is just going to blow up in your face. They probably know, but now they know that you suck too, so good job. The thing you need to remember is that the pursuit of a hobby, especially a new one, is a big challenge that deserves recognition. You can show your friend you have their back by encouraging their interest. Ask them questions like, what medium do you work with most? Who inspires you? How long have you been doing this? What's your next big goal? By treating them like a legitimate artist, you'll find yourself encouraging your friend without creating an insulating bubble effect that prevents them from learning from critique they will need to keep improving. Remember, skill level is like 20%. The other 80% is passion. Now I know some of you might be saying, hey, I'm just trying to help. Are you? Are you really? Or do you just like taking people down a peg when it's easy? Have you thought about that? Even if your friend wants to book a one-way ticket to Hollywood with a voice like a truck horn, you can give it to them straight without being a jerk about it. If you have to go for brutal honesty later on, that's fine. But don't open with the dream crusher. That's just a jerk move. So what if your friend's new partner is, not fitting in? Maybe he's a know-it-all.
My name's Shaka Ufka, and my dad knows God.
Doesn't seem interested in being part of the group.
I hear you saying, Brian, there's no evidence that Sonic doesn't think of Robotnik as a father figure. And to that I say bullshit!
Only knows how to say Derek.
We are so in sync, we're finishing each other.
Derek!
Whatever it is, he sucks all the air out of the room. Well, most of the time it's not worth it to get involved in someone's relationship unless your friend's happiness and health are on the line. White lies are pretty common in this area. If your friend wants to know what you really think of her choice, it can be tempting to just tell her he sucks and leave it at that. But when you say that, you're kind of coming for her decision making, and that might close her off to your advice in the future. If you don't like him, you need to tell her without forcing her to defend her relationship. I'm not sure I really get him, but maybe we just haven't hung out enough. If the guy seems awkward in gatherings, ask your friend in private if there's something you can do to make him feel more comfortable. Sometimes just bringing it up, gently, will spark a conversation between them that will improve things. Is your friend happy? If they're not, you need to mention that when you respond. You need to show them that your concern is with their happiness first, and that you're willing to do some work, within reason. Now, I won't lie. Most people choose their new relationship 9 times out of 10. Getting and keeping a romantic partner can be shaky until you've had the practice to gain confidence, and some people aren't willing to scrap all their work for another try, sometimes even when there's very good reason to. But if it doesn't work out and you were open and compassionate with them, hopefully your friend will remember that you were willing to be honest without tearing her down. That's who she might need if things go south. So when is a white lie a viable option? Well, I've thought about it, and there are times when the damage caused by being truthful would cause pain, stress, even conflict, like if it's a matter of not sharing strong beliefs with friends or family. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile to work these things out, but if your great-grandma is on her deathbed and she needs to know whether or not you believe you're going to see her again in the afterlife, it's worth considering just to agree and let her be happy, even if you're still soul-searching. If that idea seems horrifying to you, think about the associated cost of your honesty. She might spend much of her remaining time worried for you, and if you have a scrap of empathy in your heart, it shouldn't feel worth it. As for brutal honesty, I'll be honest myself. Again, people who brag about how brutally honest they are usually A, not honest, and B, just looking for an excuse not to have to put any work into other people. You can be brutally honest and tactful. If the situation is serious, like someone struggling with an abusive relationship or an addiction, Tiptoeing around the issue can hurt more than help, but you can be direct and honest and still approach with care. And yeah, some people will deliberately come to you with the truth when they know it's going to hurt you, just to see you hurt. These people are called shit stirrers, and I will sit you down at length to talk about them another time. You know one. Yeah, me too. Remember this when you go. Honesty without tact doesn't serve a purpose beyond cruelty. Not every way to truth is equal. Not every way to truth helps everyone. Some people are brutally honest because they either don't care about being tactful or they don't know how. But if you're not one of those people, you should be trying. And if you are one of those people, try anyway. Just try. It's not always about making other people feel better. Sometimes it can be about oiling the gears of human interaction for the benefit of all involved. There will always be somebody who would rather toss a wrench in just to watch the whole machine fall apart. But we have to just build around them. So bear this in mind. Honesty is usually the best policy, but the truth doesn't have to be ugly.